One of the big advantages of online businesses, of course, is the ability to earn very flexible income. And of course, the sky's the limit. But one advantage that maybe you haven't thought of is that it allows us to very quickly set up a family-friendly business. And that's what we want to talk about today with today's very special guest, because he has been able to, in less than 12 months, in his first 12 months with us, he's already generated over $60,000. We're going to talk about that today, how he did it, what was his key strategies, but most importantly, what we're going to talk to Rhys today about is how he was able to do this in under 15 hours a week. That's all he did working on it. Why was he so determined to do it in under 15 hours a week? Because the whole deal with this, of setting this business up for him, it was about his family. He's a dad of 4 and he needed time out from work. We'll hear his story why he needed time out from work or a change from his typical work environment. And what we're going to find out today is, like I said, how he did it, what are the insights, and what difference it's made for his family. So, Rhys, thank you, mate, for coming on to the podcast today. I can't wait to get your story out here for our community.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and so, Rhys, this is really cool. I want to say a massive congratulations. You're another one of our champions who has absolutely blitzed it this year. So you're on our champions program. You just spent a year with us. Do you want to tell us what is your background and why, as I alluded to, you needed a change in careers, let's just say. What was your background before you were on Champions?
Yeah, so just before joining Champions, I was a police officer. So I'd been doing that for 11 years.
Yep.
And it just got to a point where I just needed a break, needed a change, and needed to get back to a good family life.
Yeah, well, a little bit like Pete and Renee all those years ago. I know you were inspired by hearing Pete's story, who, if you haven't heard our podcast before, he was the same in the police force for many years. And I take it, being in the police force, Rhys, these days, it's a pretty stressful situation there, I would imagine.
Yeah, mate, full of stress. Shift work all the time, and where I was before I finished up was like a 24/7 small little station. So I wasn't actually on shift at the time. I was on call. So it was just relentless in the end. Yeah.
And what sort of hours were you working? Just because it's such a cool, here you are now doing 15 hours. What sort of hours were you working when you're in the police force?
Yeah, mate, depending on the week. If I was, on shift every day of that week, then I could be pulling in 60, 70 hours easy. Yep.
Okay.
And that's not daytime hours. That's daytime, nighttime, afternoon, 3 a.m. in the morning, just all over the shop.
So you're doing 10-hour plus shifts and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
And in high stress situations, I take it.
Yeah, high stress. We got to be on the ball. And most of that was working by myself too. So, it's just
wow.
It can get a bit dangerous and a bit iffy out there on certain jobs.
Now, you're a strong family man. That would have been particularly tough, I'm presuming. How old are you? Do you mind sharing how old are your kids? Because this is something I'm really impressed with you. Whenever I've coached you and talked to you, it's all about family first. What was that would have been hard for your kids. How old were your kids?
My kids now are 11, 9, 7, and 2.
Okay.
And I guess one of the main driving factors for me looking to get out of the job was having that 4th kid. And just having the opportunity for me to spend a lot more time with her while she was young, because I kind of missed out on that with the other 3. I was certainly around, and I love to help out as much as I could, but because of work, lots of people will understand that you just don't have the time to be there every day and see all the milestones that happen. So I didn't want to miss all that. I wanted to experience that. And so I made the big choice to, first off, take a lot of leave from my job then. Used up all of my, sick leave and long service leave and rec leave. And once I did all that, I realized once I was getting close to an end, I actually didn't want to go back. I needed something else.
And then you found this online space. But mate, well done. And it's so cool that you can share this story, because you touched on something that, as you know, there are a lot of people in our community in exactly your position. And
Mm.
I'm presuming if you're listening to this podcast, it's a high chance you are one of those people. You're either burnt out with your career or you're starting a new family. And it is a common thing. A lot of people, are feeling it, they don't want to miss the early years of their kids. And well
Mm.
done for you for making that change in your life. How did you discover us? Like what, like here you are. I've got to ask, yeah, how did you discover us?
Yeah, so yeah, thinking back, I think I found you guys through the fire community.
Okay.
Um,
Yep.
so yeah, probably I was trying to think when we started down the fire path, maybe 5, 6 years ago. We read the Barefoot Investor,
Yep.
my wife and I. And it really got us thinking. We need to take control of our finances a bit more, and if we want to not work till we're 60, we've got to do something about this. So then, yeah, we obviously joined all those communities, and on there, your business started popping up, and your face and Liz's face started popping up a lot more,
Yeah.
I clicked into them one day and watched one of your, I think it was a free seminar that you offer,
Yeah. Yep.
and yeah, just really resonated with the direction that we
Oh,
wanted to go down. So.
so that would
Uh,
have been with Captain Fire. He was one of our champion students at the time.
Yeah, yeah, Captain Fire. So he was one of the big influences in the fire movement at the time that we were following, and
Yep.
it could have actually been through him that we found you.
Yep.
But yeah, it was definitely in that
And
community.
for listeners that don't know, fire movement, it's financial independence, retire early. So
Hmm.
you and your wife were at this is about 6 years ago. I'm just painting the picture for everyone here. You were very driven to make this change in your life, like financial wise, get this financial independence, retire early. And how did that work? Did you set things up there? Were you very proactive with it?
Yeah, we were. So we weren't really investing before then. Maybe we stumbled into investing. We had an investment property as well as our PPOR that we had. But I think that was just because we were moving around the state and we were just accumulating houses where we lived.
Yeah.
Um, we kind of just blindly walked into that one. But then, yeah, so we started investing into indexed funds, so ETFs. Um, and yeah, we just discovered that, whether or not we actually wanted to retire early is one thing, but having the option of doing that is what we
Yeah.
wanted. Um, and yeah, not having to kind of work until you're not physically able to work anymore. Yeah, that wasn't really something we wanted to do.
Yeah, and well done. So you were taking these steps. You needed to make that change,
Mm,
and this is a journey that you and your wife were doing. So not just for family reasons, but for financial independence reasons. And obviously,
mm,
you discovered us and the benefits of websites and the high cash
yep,
flow as well. So
yep.
that's really cool. To also put it in context for everyone, so literally, as we record this, Rhys was working as a police officer just a year ago. Okay, so brand new to this. And you started Digital Investors Program. What was
Mm.
your wife doing at the time as well? So we've got an idea because you've done the financial. That's why I was asking about the financial independence, just so people can see it, where you were before you threw it all in. And I don't want people just quitting their jobs, Rhys, so that's what
Yeah.
I'm getting to. What did your wife do?
Yeah, so my wife, well, when I was working, I guess you could say I was the breadwinner. So but she had her own business in the background, working part-time hours,
Yep.
um, and we had a comfortable nest egg behind us before I left my job, and she was at a point in her business where she could scale up if she wanted to, just to cover the costs that our family needed,
Yep.
which is what she did, and she's still doing now. So she's at the moment she's our primary earner. She's earning the bread.
Mate,
Uh,
even after how well you've done in this last year, that's cool. No,
yeah, 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 and I think that's something she's really proud of too, because
absolutely.
to be able to step up and do that after spending so long being at home mum
Yeah.
with 3, 4 kids now.
Super
Um,
cool. Well done.
yeah, I'm proud of what she's done. She's got a
Yep.
very, very good business behind her, and that's all built just from her.
So her businesses at the same time, like within this last year or so, her business has skyrocketed as well then.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that then afforded you the opportunity, I guess, as a couple to look at this opportunity to totally reskill yourself, mate, with digital
Mm,
skills. I want to come to that in a minute too, Rhys. But so your situation was, she said, yep, you can go and reskill. You need time out from the police force because it's, you know, 10, 11 years of full on stress. And so you flipped
mm.
your roles. So now you're at home building your business and being
Yep.
the what the stay-at-home dad. You're now raising the kids.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I'm the one. Pretty much most mornings, I'll take the kids to school and pick them up after school.
Yep.
Our youngest obviously isn't school age, so she's in daycare 3 days a week,
Yep.
and those 3 days a week during school
Is
hours, so it ends up being about 5 hours a day, is where I find my time to do websites.
So, in just 5 hours a day, 3 days a week,
Mm.
Reese, look at what you've achieved, mate. Big pats on the back. You've started an agency, you blitzed it because this year was meant to be a learning year, not so
Yeah, it
much an
was. Yeah.
earning year. And look at it, you've already blitzing it there. So, what was when you came onto the program? You started Digital Investors, which is about buying and selling online businesses and stuff, but also you started playing with building a few websites. So what's been your main, how have you generated that main 60 grand? What's the main strategy you're using?
Yeah, so portfolio was what drew me in. I love the portfolio idea. But then once I started, I realized that, especially in my local area, it there was a big opportunity for me to go down the local agency route.
Yep.
And as soon as I went down that route, yeah, I got, lots of leads coming in. So it was a good decision to make, and definitely a good aspect of what you guys teach, to get that cash flow coming in pretty quickly.
And we should mention too, you're in a regional area, so this isn't, you're not
Mm,
in a big city or anything. So two interesting
yeah,
things
yeah,
in the last statement was one, you got lots of leads coming in. That's interesting because that's normally the bottleneck for anyone getting going is where to
yeah.
get leads. You've been a policeman all your life. You're not in business. You don't know.
No,
I mean, you know some interesting people, I'm sure, but not business people, I'm guessing. I know Pete and Renee always joked about that too. Remember what Pete used to say? His previous clients were not business people, the
no, the
legal.
businesses they were running, they don't need websites for.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So, uh, you're what area of Australia in? Like you're in a regional area? You should share it
Yeah,
because I'm going to.
regional. We're in Queensland here,
Yep,
just near the Sunshine Coast, a little place called Gympie.
yep, nice.
So
And
it's about 50,000 people here.
yeah, it's a big regional area. It's not a
Yeah.
small region, but you found it ideal for starting this business because you mentioned you got
Mm,
leads straight away. Okay.
mm,
The question we all want to know, Reese, how the
mm,
hell did you do this? How did you get these leads? Burnt out ex-policeman, looking after, stay-at-home dad, 4 kids, only got what, 5 hours, 15 hours a week to do this. How the hell did you get all these leads in this first year?
Um, yeah, so early on, just before I started Champions, I was already in digital investors. I kind of had the idea that I might want to go down the agency route. So what I did was I created a website for the agency and used it as a website that I could, learn my skills on. And because I created it nice and early, it obviously had a bit of time to age. And then because of the way you guys teach us how to build websites, it rose to pretty much number one for any website related keyword in
Right.
Gympie. So
Wow.
uh, so yeah, I get all my leads through organic SEO, really.
Really? So Reese, that's rare in this,
Mm,
and for any listeners, that is literally quite rare, especially in the first year, because I
mm,
guess too, here's the big advantage of being in a regional area. You can rank websites a lot quicker than you can in cities.
yeah.
Normally, if you're a beginner, and you're in a city, you try and rank a digital agency site, you're up against all the long established other digital agencies. But in a place like Gympie,
Mm,
By the way, you have the best digital agency in Gympie, Rhys. There you go. There's your link for you, mate. I'm going to help you with your SEO.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
We'll think of some other cool ones to throw in throughout the podcast, huh?
Yeah.
If you're new to this, that was an SEO joke for all our other listeners who understand SEO. I'm going to help Rhys by linking to his website in off our website. Um, but so you found this was a huge advantage being in a regional area, really. It's just got you pretty much instant leads.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I know there's probably about half a dozen other website builders that I know of in town.
Yep.
Um, but I guess none of them focus on the learning points that you teach, which is, we're SEO focused for sure. But that's what helps bring business to businesses.
Yeah.
And it helped bring business to my business. So yeah.
Well done. So this is the other question. You've retrained from being a policeman. Now,
Mm,
in all seriousness, for our listeners, um, when I first met Rhys on Digital Investors, and Rhys, you need to hear this. It was really clear to me Rhys has a natural gift for or talent for putting together really good websites. I mean it. Like Rhys, you at to the point, Rhys, where remember a year ago you won our best website build at our
mm.
annual summit with your agency site, which you'd done as a practice site, plus you showed us or you submitted whatever that other it was someone else's business. It was a business site. Was that the first site you ever built for someone? Was
Yeah,
it?
I think it was the first client site that I built. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you did that before you even started Champions, and it just really stood out to Liz and I. Like you just had a natural eye for it, and that's why. And it was a really like it worked, and it
Mm,
ranked number one and everything like that. So you also
mm,
had a natural eye for SEO. I think like you just took to it.
mm.
You got this creative side, Rhys. For 11 years, you've worked as a police officer doing police type things. Would you
Yeah.
have ever expected to have this creative eye for, building beautiful looking websites and SEOing them?
No, no. Like with policing, you do have to be a bit creative in the way that you approach situations every day. But in terms of being like digitally or graphically creative, no, I definitely wouldn't have thought that I would fit that bill. No.
Yeah, and so that's now translated. So let's look back over the year. So for you, Reese, you think about someone in your shoes, probably their
Mm,
biggest barrier obviously is getting new leads, right? But also there's this imposter syndrome thing going on, right? Because they're new, they're thinking,
yeah.
oh, who am I to go out and start building websites for people? But let's look at, you're new to it. Some of the
Mm.
results, and I've got your accountability here, Reese, that you're talking about, and you don't have to say the specific name of the website or anything, but just what are some of the results that you've been able to get for your clients? Because they're pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've built a lot of websites this year.
Yep,
I think it'd easily be 20 plus, but for some of them, like one of them is in the wedding niche,
yep,
and that one, they didn't have a website before that, and it's a brand new website for their business, but they have a venue for weddings, and they're pretty much booked out now for 2025 and 2026. And the amount of leads that come through that website and the leads that are the what those leads are worth to that business
yeah.
is yeah, it's just a massive asset they now have for their business.
So
And yeah,
imagine that. That is so cool how much you've had. And they were a friend, weren't they? So you did that at a great price and that was was that one of those
yeah,
ones that you were learning on?
it was one of the earlier ones that I quoted for and built. So yeah, it was definitely a cheapie.
Yep. That's
And yeah,
fine.
for someone I knew, yeah.
Look how much you've just changed their lives. And it's going to be a
Mm,
great, because that's a competitive niche, as you know, wedding
mm,
niches. And
mm,
they're now booked out for the full year and
mm.
into 2026 as well. That's
Yeah,
seriously
yeah,
impressive,
yeah.
man. And are you finding most of your sites ranking well in that you're building because you're in that regional area? Also, because of your awesome SEO skills. But yeah,
Yeah.
like are they? So in your first year, I guess is what I'm asking to give confidence to new listeners. What you've done has worked really well for the clients.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess Gimpy, being the size that it is, there's enough population there, but yeah, there's not a great deal of competition.
Yep.
So yeah, if you're able to build good websites with a good foundation of SEO, then naturally they rise to the front page and to the top three results quite quickly. Um, and most of the websites that I've built have gone there quite quickly. Yeah, it's
Yeah. Well, you are good at it. Like you're seriously good at it, what you're doing. And
yeah, thanks.
for this year's summit, for our listeners, Rhys submitted so many submissions we couldn't put them all in. But Liz and I sat there before it, just looking, going over them, going, man, these are all good. And we did display your wedding site, and because that was one of my favorites, and there was another couple I think that we put in as well. They're all excellent, Rhys. Really, and they just have the right. What program are you using? Like how are you doing all the images and stuff? Because are you just building these on Astra Elementor like we teach and
Yeah, so just the way you guys teach. So yeah, Astra theme with Elementor Builder.
yep.
And I've got a Canva Pro subscription. So if the
Oh
client's
yeah.
not getting the personalized images, then I get, top quality images from there that I can use.
Yeah, because yours visually have got, the images look fantastic. So
Hmm.
are you a photographer by any chance or anything, or you've just got an eye for
No,
it?
no, apparently I've got an eye for it, but
Okay.
but yeah, no,
All
no, no,
right.
no, no,
Your
no
wife must
prior
be very proud.
experience.
Like it's probably a shock to all of you, I suppose. Like, oh man, this is coming. But it's cool. You got to run with it. Isn't it funny what you discover in life? Here you are, you
Yeah.
retrain in digital, and it's like, oh man, just taken to this like a duck to water. Is that the right word? Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think if you just yeah, if you just give it your all whenever you step into something, then you're going to get out of it what you put in. So
so at this stage, you've set this up. So for our listeners, this is really interesting. Whenever I've spoken to Rhys, because he started to get some success with this, throughout the year, obviously, I was always saying to him on like we met up at some meetups and stuff that we run, and on coaching calls, and I'd say, mate, step on the accelerator, and you just outright refuse. Remember that, Reese? The first time you said it to me when we met face to face, I'm like, why aren't you going hard? He goes, Matt, I'm made a decision. I'm here for my kids. I'm not working more than 15 hours, and it's something I really admire about you, Reese. You're just so um, very. Even I can't convince you to work more than that. So,
I might pick up one more day, maybe. I might pick up one
Okay.
more day.
As once your kids, all right, cool. Because it's but hats off to you for that. But how question for you. So here you are, first year. You've like you said, you built a lot of sites, you're doing really well with it. Are you still the main person doing this? Because I want people to see this journey in this first year. You know how we talk about it at private champions boot camps, but share with
Yep.
everyone here publicly. What's your situation? Are you mainly doing everything now? So you're confident
Yep.
technically and stuff. So you,
Yeah,
you
so
haven't
it's
hired any tech staff or anything at this point?
no, it's just been me up until this point. I really wanted to get my head
Yep.
around every aspect of what we do,
Yep.
so that
Good.
I understand the pain points and I can understand
Good.
what I want to outsource when I get to that point.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, at the same time, yeah, I really wanted to understand exactly what I was doing so that when I was speaking to clients, I know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
and
Good.
I know that I can deliver what they want.
Thumbs up. So for our listeners, thank you, Reese, for sharing that because I want, if you're listening to this, I want you to see the realistic pathway. Forget about the money. I know Reese has blitzed it, making 60 grand and everything in his first year, but the pathway is, and we remember at the last boot camp, we interviewed a whole heap of champions who are like Reese and second and third year champions who are building significant digital agencies. And everyone agreed in their first year, they just all knuckled down and did everything themselves. And then towards the end
Hmm.
of the year, you typically start hiring your first techies and things like that and web designers. So if that's worked well for you, when you look back over this year, that's worked well for you then personally, even working your 15 hours.
Yeah, definitely. I've only this month I've reached out and I'm trialing a web designer.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. And you heard at the boot camp, a lot of the other graduates and the coaches, they all did exactly the same thing. So
Mm,
everyone,
mm.
when you're listening here, you can just breathe a sigh of relief, just focus on having the fun bit, building websites in
Mm.
your first year. So
Yeah,
then the next question I've got for you, because you have blitzed it so well, you know, you're not from a traditional sales background. You have an interesting one in your previous career, I'm sure. How you had to convince people would be quite different to how we do it
Yep.
in selling agencies. So, what does it look like? You're getting all these leads right from your website. So, do you go and physically then you speak to them on the phone? Do you go and meet them at their businesses because it's a regional town? What's worked? Because obviously it's working well for you. What's your actual process?
Yeah, so typically they'll reach out via phone or online contact form, and I'll have initial a conversation with them on the phone just to see if what they want aligns with what I can give them.
Yep.
And then if it is, then yeah, I normally arrange a meetup in person at a local coffee shop. We'll go have a coffee together,
Cool.
and
Yeah.
I'll run through the needs analysis with them,
Nice one.
um,
Yep.
and then yeah, so most of the time people just want to speak to a real person. They want to know that
Yeah.
who they're dealing with is a local.
Yep.
Um, and some businesses don't want to. Some businesses just want the cheapest thing they can find. That's fine, but they'll go and find that. But some businesses actually want to deal with someone face to face and have that connection with them.
Yep.
And that's obviously something that I can give them. And yeah, that's pretty
Yeah. So
much how
you,
I do it. And yeah.
so Rhys, we've always taught, we've been, as you know, we've been running Champions for over a decade now. I remember when we very first started Champions, because we come from farms, Liz and I've
Mm,
always said, man, you guys in regional areas are laughing. You've actually got to be, I know you think it's harder. It's actually not. People, the
mm,
more regional you get, the more people want to deal with you face to face. But I believe even in the big cities, you look at any of our champions in the cities, it's exactly the same thing. These days, people don't want to be dealing with the callers, the SEO companies that are, non-stop ringing people and stuff like that. They want to deal
yeah,
with
yeah,
someone across the table having that cup of coffee. So for you,
yep,
obviously, that's been a huge advantage for you. And is it fun?
yep.
You're not from sales or business background. Was it scary at first, or a lot? Is it fun for you after doing 10 years of being a policeman?
Yeah, it was scary in a sense that I had to completely change my mindset because for the last decade I've been focused on policing and asking
Yep.
specific questions around that sort of stuff. But before that, I did retail sales for a few years before getting into policing, um,
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
which may have helped where I am now.
Yep.
Um, but in the same sense, like even in policing, the best tool you have is communication.
Yeah.
Um,
Good
and
point.
I think it's the same with anything that you do. If you're able to talk to people, then you'll go far in life. And I'm an introvert at heart.
Yep.
I could quite easily just sit at home all day and not talk to anyone and be happy.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I understand that you need to go do these things if you want to have success in life. So yeah.
Well done. Yeah, so that's your process. Like getting the
Mm,
leads off your website, then you physically go and meet someone, have a chat with them, a coffee, and that in
mm,
and of itself in a regional area is probably a pretty cool thing to do. So now over this year, I'm presuming having built so many websites and getting to know people in your community, that's
mm.
been another big thing for you as well then. Like you're not sitting at home like a mushroom in the dark. You are actually
Yeah.
getting out there, which Reece, I think it's good for mental health reasons as well, particularly for guys
Mm,
and stuff. We've seen
mm.
that, as you know, in the champions community. It's a big benefit, isn't it? Getting out there, chatting to local, being part of your local community.
Yeah, big time. And something I've noticed, yeah, with my life now, beforehand, it was all about work, 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 and that's all I had time to do.
Right.
But now I've
Yep.
actually got time where, I am playing sport again every week and I'm,
Oh,
I'm
cool.
reffing that sport as well, just extra cardio. And,
Yep.
I'm coaching one of my boys' soccer teams every week.
All
And
right.
I've been able to get back out there and live life again. So now that I've got the time to do it.
Mate, well done. You've set yourself. You've had a clear intention at the beginning of the
Mm,
year. And you and your wife, I should say. So actually, over the last, these last 6 years, when you started on this fire journey to here you
mm,
are today, mate, you've
mm,
nailed it. Living the fire dream. You've
mm.
retired early, sort of, 15 hours,
Yeah,
15 hours a week, and
I keep
and
joking I'm semi-retired already, so
yeah, yeah, semi-retired. Well, mention to me what you mentioned off the camera before when you figured out your hourly rate and stuff. That's pretty cool too.
Yeah, so I just sat down before and drilled down the numbers of what I've done over the last 12 months, and I'm effectively earning the same hourly rate that I was while I was a police officer,
Yep.
um, and obviously doing 15 hours a week instead of 40 plus, but yeah, earning the same sort of hourly rate, which is
And Rhys, I want to point out that's in your first year. That's only year one.
mm,
And if you
mm,
listen to this podcast for listeners and you, Rhys, as well, obviously you know a lot of the stories. You've met the people, like at
mm,
Mission Avenue in the second year, things just start accelerating, third year and stuff. So if you want to stick at it. And so on that note, now that you've had a taste so for you, I remember too, when you came on the program, you said to me like, yeah, it's a big step to do, right? So it's a tester.
mm.
You got to make sure. Now, when you look back over this year, what's your thoughts for the future? What is your plan here? You're going to keep it as a lifestyle. You mentioned before jokingly you might slip in an extra day now and then. Is your wife going to
Yeah.
let and your kids going to let you do that? But what is your plans? Where do you want to go with this? Because
Um, I'm happy to see where it takes me. But at the same time, if I can take on more and bring more dollars in, then my wife can take a step back from hers as well and
gotcha.
start earning. Like she already does work fairly friendly hours now, but
Yep.
if she can, step back a day and have an extra day off, then and I can step forward and work an extra day, then we can kind of find a happy middle ground there where we're both relatively stress free and we can both
Yep.
be there for all the kid stuff and just have a good life, good lifestyle.
Mate, well done. It's just unreal hearing your story today, Rhys. I can't wait to see what you achieve over this next year. I just have a feeling you're gonna nail this even bigger than what you think. Because, Rhys,
Mm,
seriously, when you came on the program, you were just testing this out and you needed a
mm,
change in life.
mm.
And you set a clear intention though, and you had a goal, and you've well exceeded it. And
Yeah.
it's meant to be a learning year, and here you are, 60 grand. By the way, I will mention, Rhys did say to me off the camera, there's possibly another 20K on top of that. We'll see what happens over the next few weeks.
Mm,
So, but let's call it at least 60K. Seriously impressive, mate. And I want to say a big thank you too for coming along to share your personal story as well, like your background and showing people a different pathway of what can be done and how in particular your main intention was just to there was that time in life where you needed to set up a family friendly style business and
mm.
mission accomplished. That's exactly what you guys have done. Well done.
Yeah, mate. Well, yeah, the most valuable commodity in life is time. So
Yeah.
yeah, we wanted to structure our life to reflect that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well done, Rhys. And mate, we're going to have to get you on again in a year's time. So
see how we go. We'll see how we go. But yeah,
yeah,
thank you very much to you and Liz. Like, yeah, the course that you guys have designed and deliver is next level. And yeah, just the amount of people that you've helped throughout the years, and before signing up, I obviously watched all of your videos and webinars that you did with the interviews that you did with people, and you've just helped so many people. So it's just it's great to be a part of that.
thank you, Rhys. Yeah, that. I really appreciate that, and I know you've done awesome calls with the coaches as well too. Like
Yeah,
they're all
yeah.
they've always mentioned, they're impressed, seriously impressed with your journey too. You've just accelerated, and obviously, Rhys, you're a go-getter. Like those 15 hours you're not sitting around, twiddling your thumbs. You're out there and
No.
and you're putting into practice what we teach here and what others. I would like to say a big thank you to, and I'm sure you would agree, like people like Pete and Renee, champions that have gone before you, and you've learnt, like you said, you've listened to all their stories,
Mm,
and because one of the questions that Liz and I and us coaches here at eBusiness are asking ourselves this year for our listeners is what has happened this year? Why are these guys kicking such big goals in their first year, which is meant to be a learning year?
mm,
I'm going to have to stop saying that, I think, because you guys are proving me all wrong here, Reese. But all of you are just some amazing results this year, and
mm,
as every champion gets too. But looking at someone like yourself who in 15 hours have created that sort of level of income, really, really
mm,
impressive. And you've heard it here
mm,
today, guys. Reese got out there. He set intention. It was all about around the family first. 15 hours, no more than that, and he got his leads from, there's no big secret, got his leads from his website and then went and physically met everyone and had coffees with them because people
Mm,
love buying off people face to face. They
mm.
want to see that you're a local. And I think that's a huge advantage no matter where you live. So maybe that's a big take home point if you're getting started on this strategy. Nothing beats the local face to face personal touch. So thank you, Rhys, for
Yeah.
sharing your story today, mate. That was just awesome.
No, all good, Matt. Thanks for having me.